Tombstone, Arizona, history, tourism, and legends. The Crystal Palace Saloon. During the late 1880s, the Crystal Palace Saloon in Tombstone, Arizona was known as a place where prominent citizens came together. Doc Holliday and Big Nose Kate frequented the saloon and argued often. The saloon also hosted a gaming hall and newsroom. After Prohibition, the Crystal Palace Saloon changed drastically. While it still advertised a fine whiskey, it also advertised gambling, and the office of Dr. George Goodfellow. The Crystal Palace was located at 420 East Allen Street. The saloon was owned by Marshal Virgil Earp. Several other saloons were also in Tombstone. The Crystal Palace Saloon in Tombstone was reconstructed in 1963. The interior was recreated using photos of the time. The bar area was refurbished and has been updated to include music and choicest liquors. The Crystal Palace Saloon in Tombstone was built in 1882 and has a history that is quite interesting. During Prohibition, the Crystal Palace was a place where the miners and gamblers of Tombstone gathered. The Crystal Palace was originally built as a theater. In the early years, it was called the Crystal Theater. A few years later, it was renamed the Crystal Palace. It was also advertised as a concert hall and gaming hall. In the early 1900s, the Crystal Palace Saloon was known for its honest gambling room. It was also known for its tolerable water and good whiskey. However, the Crystal Palace has undergone several changes and changed ownership several times. In 1963, historic Tombstone Adventures was formed. 3 men from the East decided to purchase a number of important properties in Tombstone. They purchased the Crystal Palace Saloon and other significant properties in Tombstone. They also decided to recreate the saloon's interior. Birdcage Theater. Located at the southwest corner of Allen and 6th Streets in Tombstone, Arizona, the Birdcage Theater is one of the oldest, most authentic buildings in the city. It is a museum and tourist attraction. Visitors can visit the Birdcage during the day and take a tour of the building at night. The tour will take them back in time to the Wild West. They will see artifacts from Tombstone's heyday. The Birdcage Theater was originally opened on the day after Christmas 1881. It was intended to be a family-friendly entertainment establishment. It operated continuously for 8 years. It catered to the energies of silver miners and cowboys. The Birdcage Theater was operated by Billy Hutchinson, who had experience in the entertainment business. He was motivated by his desire to create a family-friendly theater. He wanted to turn the Birdcage into a place where people could enjoy family shows. Aside from the Birdcage Theater, Tombstone is home to other popular attractions. Some of these include the Rose Tree Museum and Bookstore, the OK Corral, the oldest gunfight in the West, the Owl Cafe, also known as the Bucket of Blood Buckskin, and the Boot Hill Graveyard. The Rose Tree Museum and Bookstore features dioramas of Tombstone's early days and displays local history. Visitors can also browse an assortment of family memorabilia. The world's largest rose tree is located here. Visitors to the Birdcage Theater have reported paranormal activity. They have reported being touched by unseen forces, and have reported hearing strange noises. The Birdcage is also known to be haunted by the ghosts of people who were murdered here. Despite the reports, the ghosts are terrifying. Please subscribe to our channel. Tombstone Courthouse State Historic Park. Located in southeastern Arizona, Tombstone is a small town known for its Old West history. It is also a tourist destination that boasts historic buildings, saloons, and other attractions. These include Tombstone's Historama and the gunfight at the OK Corral. The Historama is a kitschy multimedia performance, which tells the story of Tombstone's bad old days. It's narrated by Vincent Price, and features reenactments of the OK Corral gunfight. Tombstone's Historama also features a courtroom with a replica gallows. Tombstone has been home to a number of famous outlaws. One of the most famous was Wyatt Earp, who was a lawman in the Wild West. In 1881, Earp and the Clanton MC Laurie gang were fighting for control. He tracked down the men responsible for crimes. He also went on a bloody vendetta ride. Tombstone also has a number of museums. These include the Tombstone Courthouse State Historic Park, which houses a museum devoted to the stories of the late 1800s. The museum has exhibits including a reproduction of the courtroom, a tax license for an opium den, and a replica of the gallows. Tombstone is also home to the Audie Murphy and Medal of Honor Museum. This museum was dedicated in memory of Audie L. Murphy. It features a large collection of documents, photographs, and other memorabilia. Tombstone's museum features dioramas of Tombstone's early days, along with memorabilia of the Robertson, Macha family. The museum also has a recreation of the Silver Assay Office. Tombstone also has a shooting range. This range is located at 4th and Toughnut Streets. This range is more hysterical than historical. Tombstone Ghosts and Legends Tour. Taking a Tombstone Ghosts and Legends tour is a great way to learn about Tombstone's rich history. Tombstone is famous for its gunslingers and outlaws, but it also has plenty of haunted buildings. These buildings, which were built in the 1800s, still attract spectral visitors. The Tombstone Ghosts and Legends Tour takes guests on a historical journey, telling stories that you won't find in guidebooks. The tour will also give you a chance to try out some ghost hunting equipment. You might even get to meet Doc Holliday. The tour is led by local historian Dr. J, who has a knack for combining knowledge with humor. He calls his style edutainment. The Tombstone Ghosts and Wonders Tour is a great family-friendly tour that takes you on a 90-minute journey through Tombstone. You'll learn about Tombstone's rich history, which includes the famous OK Corral gunfight. The tour is held in the Visitors Center and is a great way to see the town's main attractions. The Tombstone Ghosts and Magic Tour is a fun way to explore Tombstone's history, combining historical sites with computerized animations and a real live history presentation. It is a great experience for everyone, from the history buff to the casual tourist. The Tombstone Ghosts and Mystery Tour is a family-friendly tour. It includes Hollywood special effects, EMF meters, and an all-around paranormal experience. It is a fun way to spend an afternoon. It also gives you a chance to learn about Tombstone's history. The best part about the Tombstone Ghosts and Magic Tour is that it is a free event. The Tombstone Ghosts and Miracles Tour is a fun and spooky experience. It's a great way to spend an afternoon with the whole family. Rose Tree Museum and Bookstore. Located on South 4th Street in Tombstone, Arizona, the Rose Tree Museum and Bookstore is the home of the world's largest rose tree. It is also a museum that features dioramas of the early days of Tombstone and the Lucky Cuss Mine. It is a historical landmark and the site of a famous gunfight. The museum is a great place to learn about the history of Tombstone and the Wild West. You will find displays of historical equipment and original 1880s reports. It also has an interesting section on the Chinese population of Tombstone and the laborers that came to the town. The museum has an excellent bookstore that offers historical books about Tombstone. The museum also features memorabilia from the Roberts and Macha family, who lived in Tombstone for 6 generations. The museum is closed on Thanksgiving and Christmas days. The gunfight at the OK Corral is one of the most famous shootouts in history. It took place on October 26, 1881. 3 people were killed. Billy Clanton was killed in the fight. His brother, Tom, and Frank McClory were also killed. The shooting inspired novelists and filmmakers for years. Another famous tourist attraction in Tombstone is the Birdcage Theater. This theater was a popular gambling and drinking venue during the 1880s. It has also been said to be haunted by resident ghosts. The Birdcage Theater is also a popular spot for live entertainment. Another famous landmark is the Tombstone Courthouse State Historic Park. The park features a replica of the gallows. It is also home to the Tombstone Epitaph, the oldest continuously published newspaper in Arizona. This historical site is also home to Tombstone walking tours. These tours are a great way to learn about the history of Tombstone. Please like, share and subscribe to our channel. Thanks for watching.